Hey, everybody. Looks like you're still getting connected to audio. Welcome. I'm having to crouch down a little bit so you guys could see me. Got a different setup today. Thank you guys for being here. Danielle, nice to see you here. I missed you yesterday at Ignite class. Hopefully you'll be back next week.
We'll definitely be back. Tell my boss that I can't work on Thursday night.
All right. I will do. I'll send it in the next email.
Perfect.
Sweet. Yeah, today we are going after all things below the knee. So you're going to need a lacrosse ball or something similar and a foam roller. Doesn't matter if it's smooth like this one or if it's got bumps and stuff all over it. Both are good. We're going to kind of start from the feet and slowly work up from there. So let's go ahead and get started. Grab your ball and we're going to jump right into it.
All right.
So I'm going to back up a little bit, change position of the camera. Hopefully you guys can see.
Yep.
So going after the foot. So set your ball down on the ground. Feel free to hold on to anything you need to for balance if that's a struggle. But we're going to start right under the big joint below the big toe. So lots of different muscles, tissue connect there. So we're going to kind of start with the biggest bang for our buck. So I like to just kind of push the ball in right below kind of that the bottom knuckle of the big toe and just kind of see how much weight I can take there at first. If you've never done this before, this might be super, super sensitive for you. So definitely modulate pressure as needed. But after I've felt like my body can kind of sustain the pressure that I have, then you're going to start to add some motion into it. So hopefully you can see I'm just slowly twisting my foot left and right here. And that's just kind of taking the ball from the base of my big toe all the way down to the base of my pinky toe, back and forth. And this whole big piece here that we're rolling is the connection point for the plantar fascia. So that's the big kind of sleeve that goes under the foot and kind of holds all of our foot muscles in place, provides a lot of structure for the foot when we're walking and running, super important piece of tissue. So we're going to give it a little bit of attention because a lot of times this can be pretty flared up for people. If you're maybe not super active, it could be kind of flared up quickly if you become active. Or if you're really active all the time, on your feet all the time, your feet could just get tired. And that's okay too. Sometimes you need to just reward the feet for working hard. So now that we've done that for about 30 seconds, our body's kind of warmed up into the position. I want you to go back to the base of the big toe. I want you to slide that ball down just a little bit. So now I'm just south of the base of the big toe. And for me, right away, that's a tender spot. So now we're going to add some movement over that tender spot. So now, just as if you're going to open and close a fist, I want you to scrunch your toes, spread them out. Scrunch your toes, spread them out. Doesn't really matter how fast or slow or how big you scrunch them up, how big you spread them out. Any motion here is going to be good motion, as long as it doesn't hurt. So just slowly opening up the feet, getting those muscles working and moving over the ball. Here, you guys keep going. I'm going to check. I think we might have someone in the waiting room. I don't want to leave them waiting. If we do, nope, we don't. We're good. Okay, cool. All right, back to it. Just opening up the toes, closing them back down. If you guys have any questions as we're going through with this exercise or any of the others, feel free to just speak up. No worries. Now we're just going to start to move down the foot. So now instead of kind of being towards the top half of my foot, I'm basically kind of right in the middle of my arch if I was lined up, still lined up with that big toe, but now I'm kind of in the middle of the arch here. This might be another real sensitive spot for you. This is a point where a lot of big calf muscles come down and attach right to the middle of that arch. So if you are someone who has really flat feet, maybe those muscles don't work as well as they should or aren't as active as they should be, these muscles might be a little bit sore for you, might be a little bit tender. So this could help kind of wake them up a little bit, restore them, get them feeling a little bit better. This is just a nice, easy one you can do pretty much at any point in your day, right? As long as you can slip off a shoe, you can do this when you're working from home, typing on the computer. You can do this seated, you can do this standing. Lots of easy ways to sneak this exercise into your day. As always, make sure you're breathing. Hopefully you're not talking as much as I am as you're doing these exercises. When I do these exercises at home, I'm actually almost silent because I'm focusing on my breathing so much. I really do believe that that helps a ton with these exercises. Similar to kind of a yoga practice. A yoga practice is kind of led by the breath typically, and I kind of take that same approach to these kind of foam rolling or lacrosse ball techniques. All right, so now let's go to the heel. We're going to basically trace along the top of the heel here. So go ahead and step onto the ball and put enough pressure. I actually like to have my toes down for this one so I can balance a little bit better. And then just swivel the heel left and right. And that'll kind of glide that ball across the top. Kind of the top border of the heel bone.
I have a question. So I feel like I'm putting all my weight down, but the ball keeps like sliding out. Is there a trick to that?
Ball keeps sliding out. I don't know if there's necessarily a trick to it. I think it's probably maybe just a positioning thing. So if you're going too far over to one spot, then yeah, that ball is going to slide off or your foot's going to slide off the ball. So maybe just a smaller range of motion could help, maybe alleviate that a little bit. So maybe you focus in on one point that keeps the ball underneath you, and then just shift the foot to a little bit farther to the right or to the left, and just smaller motions, I would say.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm doing that right.
How big is your ball? I mean, I have a 4-inch ball that they use for baseball.
I'm not sure how big this is. I'd say maybe 2 or 3 inches around. It's not as big as my fist. It's about half as big as my fist, maybe 3/4. So not a ton. Lacrosse balls are a little bit smaller than tennis balls, but quite a bit firmer. So anything that's roughly tennis ball size should be perfect for this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's 4 inches. Mine's 4 inches.
So that might be a little bit big, but I honestly think it'll still work.
There you go.
That one's too small.
No, it isn't.
All right, let's go ahead and switch over to that left foot. We got a lot to get through today. So we're going to take it from the top again, going right under that big toe joint, that big toe knuckle, I should say. And first, just put the pressure there. Let the body acclimate to the pressure, find the right amount of pressure for you. Then just slowly start that wave. So I'm pulling my foot left and right, letting that ball sort of massage across the knuckles of all 5 toes. Me kind of being a movement nerd, I think it's kind of cool when you slide the ball across. You see all the toes individually kind of scrunch up because we're going over all the muscles and tendons for those toes and shortening them just as if we were closing a fist, but the ball was doing that passive. So kind of cool there. Yeah, I was moving a little bit big there, Danielle, so I had to reposition because the ball was sliding out from under my foot. That's a normal thing. Sometimes you just got to reposition a bit. No big deal.
I also realized I'm wearing socks, so I think that could have been a reason.
Definitely, definitely. A little bit more of a slick surface. All right, so now let's start to move down that line of the big toe, going kind of through that medial arch of the foot. So now take it just above that halfway point. So kind of in between the middle of your arch and that big toe knuckle. Get a little bit of side to side motion there. If that feels good, you can switch between a side to side motion and kind of the flex and extend or closed fist, open fist motion with the toes. Whatever feels best for you, go with that.
I have a question. Do these exercises help, like if you get leg cramps?
They potentially could. Honestly, there's not a real way for me to tell with that. It depends on where those leg cramps are, what muscles are involved. A lot of times cramping could just be from dehydration. That, in my opinion, is kind of the most common cause of cramps.
Yeah.
So
Usually in the calf.
Go ahead.
It's usually in the calf area.
In the calf, then maybe, yeah. This could help create some laxity kind of through the system, because the calf obviously connected to the ankle and to the foot. So if we're creating a little bit more range of motion, a little bit more laxity in the foot, that should travel upstream and into the calf. All right. Shifting now, so now we're in the middle of the arch, kind of tying in right to where this big calf muscle attaches right in the center of the foot. Getting a little side to side going there. Woo. This one's a little bit more tender for me than the other side. We'll only spend about 30 seconds here. I want to make sure we have some time for our lower leg transition off of the foot. So let's go right into that heel. We'll go last one, go into the heel, go toes down again. I'll back up a little bit so you guys can see better. Toes down, heel up, apply that pressure, and slow motion side to side. Just a little gentle massage for that heel. Give it some attention. Our feet typically just gets kind of abused day to day, not too often where they get loved, taken care of, right? This sort of work I think is super, super important and really beneficial for everything up the chain. So work like this, if you're consistent with it, kind of strange, sounds a little weird, but it can help with knee pain, hip pain, low back pain, anything kind of lower body. All of that movement typically starts from your feet. So helping your feet can help that a lot of the times. All right, so that's going to be it with the ball. Go ahead and set it off to the side. It's foam roller time. And we're going to start a little bit different. Oh, got to move the ball. It's right near you guys' camera. Sorry. A little bit different foam roller use. Typically for the lower leg, people go right after the calf. So we're actually going to spend more time on the shin today. So right under the knee, then just to the right of the knee, right along here, there's a big muscle, anterior tib. If you lift your toes, you can feel that muscle flex and relax. That's what we're going after. So start right underneath your knee. You can use both hands down to stabilize yourself. Back foot can be down. Or if you need more weight, more pressure into it, you can use that back foot and kind of lay it onto the leg that we're working. Either way is fine. But from here, I want you to just do kind of a little scoot side to side. So hopefully you can see that. I'll twist a little bit, kind of scooting my my skin across that shin muscle here, and scooting my knee back and forth. So that's basically dragging the skin across the muscle. So let's start like that. Kind of a scoot, scrub, whatever term you want to use for it. But it's just basically sliding the skin over the muscle. Improving on how all those different tissues slide together. Feel free to travel up the leg a little bit, down the leg a little bit. You don't want a huge range of motion. But if it's not right under the knee, that's okay. Now that we've done that scoop for a bit, now we're going to go with a little bit more slow, controlled wave. So starting kind of right next to my shin, I'm putting a lot of pressure, downward pressure into the roller. And then I'm going to slowly just let it roll over towards the outside of my leg. And there we're getting a whole bunch of muscles that attach to the top of the foot called the peroneals, the peroneal group. Those are undertrained, so a lot of times they're weak and they're definitely undermobilized. Nobody really works these muscles on a regular basis unless a physician or physical therapist told them to due to some injury. So this could be a tight spot you didn't even know you had, honestly. So a little bit of a roll side to side. I've naturally, because I'm just kind of hunting around for where my body is tightest, so I've naturally scooted up the roller. So now the roller is maybe 4 fingers underneath the base of my knee. So I'm working towards halfway down the shin now, getting a little bit of side to side pressure wave. Nice slow inhales. Slow exhales. The trick with the breath is you're just trying to get your body to relax. So it can be kind of tough if you're new to breath work or really deep breathing, but research shows that the body relaxes best after when it functions off of a 5-second inhale, 5-second exhale. So work towards that. Like I said, that can be really tough to just jump right into. You'll feel like you're out of breath if you jump right into it. You're not ready for it. But if you start with a 2-second inhale and exhale or 3-second inhale and exhale, that's still progress in the right direction. I'm rolling side to side. Now I'm about halfway down the calf. So now you're going to start to feel like right on the shin. If we're straight down on the shin like that, you're not going to feel much because there's not much muscle there. It's mainly bone. So now we're spending more time kind of on the outside of the shin, outside of the leg here. And once you get to a point, twist so you guys can see, where your back toes are lifted off the ground and kind of fully supported by the roller, you can then start to flex and point the foot. And that, just like we opened and closed our fist with the toes, flexing and pointing the ankle, or flexing and pointing the foot, gets that muscle working while we have it under some pressure here, under some weight. That's a really good way to help that open up, help work that tissue in a little bit different way than it's used to. Moving down a little bit now, I'm starting to get pretty close to the top of my ankle. On that outside, so I've got my left leg, I'm on the left side of my lower leg. Slowly sliding down. Right now I'm getting maybe 3 or 4 flex and extends of the ankle before I'm moving down a little bit farther. Nice deep breaths once again. Now I'm getting to the point where that roller is basically right smack on the curve of my ankle. Now that I'm there, I'm going to try and get that side-to-side motion once again. So I'm doing that skin scrub or that scoop. So hold that roller down in place and just scoop that ankle left and right. Let that skin slide over the top of it. It's important to get that skin moving, get that fascia moving, everything moving with the degrees of freedom which it was designed to. All sorts of stuff is capable of getting tight in our body, way more than just the muscles and the joints like people typically think. All right, go ahead and shake out that leg. If there's a lot of time on your wrist, feel free to take a break, shake those out. But as you're ready, we'll do the same thing on that right leg. So I'll switch sides, start kind of straight on underneath that knee, finding that muscle, little roll side to side, hunt for the tight spots. Once I found one, start off with that scrub. So I'm dragging the skin left and right. As much weight as I can tolerate there. Kind of got my right foot propped up on my left calf right now, just to support that weight, help feel a little bit more stable. There's no right or wrong way really to hold your body when you're foam rolling. It's however, one lets you get the appropriate amount of pressure, and two lets you be stable so you can actually do the exercise without falling over. All right, so now taking that into kind of the meat of the muscle. So maybe again, kind of 4 fingers down beneath the knee. Now we're gonna start that slow pressure wave. So starting kind of right on top of the shin bone, slow roll towards the outside or the right side of my lower leg and back. And this is probably the easiest one to get your inhales and exhales down with. So you can inhale one direction, exhale the other. After a couple rolls in each spot, go ahead and let that roller slide down the leg. So I'm personally about halfway down my shin now. In about the next 90 seconds, our goal is to be down towards the ankle. So then we'll have 5 minutes to spend on the calf specifically. Slowly sliding up the leg. Now that we're past the halfway point of the shin, now we spend more time on the outside of the leg. Most of the muscles are over there anyways. And this is where we can start switching between the side-to-side roll I'm doing now and that point and flex of the back toe. So moving that ankle, flexing it up and down. Switch between those as you want to, as what feels good to you, whatever feels best on your body. This is definitely a practice where you need to listen to your body, kind of the input that it's telling you, right? So by nature, the active foam rolling is a little bit uncomfortable. So it's just not going to ever feel painless, but it should also not be painful, right? Painful, and you want to pull away from it. It should feel like a massage where it kind of hurts, but it also feels good. That's the goal of it. Coming right down to that ankle. We got 10 seconds here. I talked a little bit too much. So work towards that ankle, flex and extend. For 3, 2, 1. Okay, go ahead and come off of that. Shake it out. All right. And for the next one, we are actually just going to use the roller to prop up our lower leg. So the angle for this one is a little weird, so I'll make sure that you guys can see. So how are we gonna start? We're gonna start with our left ankle on top of the roller, so the curve of the ankle is supported, so my foot is floating. Then from there, I'm taking my right shin, laying it into kind of the crook of the knee. Now I'm trying to get my shin bone on top of my calf muscle here. From there, I'm slowly walking my hands back. So now that my butt and my body weight is sitting onto my ankle. So we're actually using our shin bone, in this case, my right shin, to massage out our calf. So our shin here is basically our foam roller. And I don't think you guys can tell from this ankle, or from this angle, but I'm scooting, you can see it now, my right shin, left and right, back and forth. That is moving my left calf kind of over its bone and slowly massaging it that way. If you've never done this, it can be pretty tender. I learned this trick from an awesome physical therapist. His name is Dr. Kelly Starrett. Definitely worth a Google if you have the free time. But he actually calls this move, he named it the bone saw. So if it feels pretty tender, feels a little painful for you, there's a reason for that, right? It says it kind of in the name. It should not feel, it's not a very gentle mobilization, I'll say. So now I'm scooting that ankle a little bit down towards the middle of my calf. Woo, that is super sensitive there. So nice slow motions, left and right, back and forth. We got about a minute on this side, and then we'll switch to the right. So stay focused on kind of that top half of your calf here. So we're working on what most people think of when they think of a calf muscle, that muscle towards the top of it. We're massaging that out here. Feel free to play with different angles of that shin and how far you're pulling it left and right to just change how it feels on that calf. And let's switch sides. We got 2 minutes on that right side, and then we are out of here. So I got my right foot propped up on the roller, cross my left shin, left ankle over that right calf muscle, slowly sitting my way back, adjusting kind of as needed till I find that right pressure, that right sensation that I'm looking for. Then I start to scoot that left shin side to side over that right calf muscle. Now on this side, I'm kind of pulling a little bit more with this left knee, dragging it across a little bit farther to where the bony part of the top of my foot is actually over my calf, and that feels really good in kind of a painful, horrible way, but really good. It's supposed to feel good. Little massage there. Less than a minute left, so start to move down that calf muscle. With any of these techniques, any of these classes, my general kind of rule of thumb is to spend roughly 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, kind of per side, per exercise. With something like this, it's more than likely not going to be enough to work out all your tight spots, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be. Just a little bit every day or a little bit most days of the week, in my opinion, is a better approach long term. So if you feel like, hey, I've still got some tight spots there, I want to keep working, that's okay. Just come back to it tomorrow. All right, and that is 1:45 by my watch. I don't want to hold you guys over, so I'm going to cut it there. What do we think? How'd that feel? Any sort of feedback, questions before we end it?
I felt pretty good. I was thinking of a violin instead of a song.
Yeah, actually, absolutely. That same sort of motion. That's perfect. Perfect way to make it make sense, right? Cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I'm gonna call it right there. Thank you guys for showing up. Next week we'll be doing something a little bit more upper body focused since we did lower body this week. All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too.
See you guys.